Welcome back to No Automation Challenge. Last time I got through entire primitive and steamage and made my first LV machines. This episode I will begin and solve power problems for the future. But first things first. I am now in LV and LV methods of power generation are now possible. I can't make a large steam turbine yet. It is too far into LV. But the best steam generator is now accessible. The heat exchanger. Don't listen to large bronze betas that their puny boiler is better. The heat exchanger will lead you to MV in just 1 dram of lava. But first, I need to get some machines. I've placed the machines I've made before and started the machine worm instead of a typical machine wall. With the bending machine operational, I've begun crafting hulls with the better ratios. I will make a lathe, a distillery, and an assembling machine. They are all needed for the heat exchanger, except lathe, but I'm crafting it for better rod making. I will also craft another latex collector. This time it will collect resin needed to make glue for hatches. I very quickly made it, but I can't set it right now as it needs distilled water to operate. I want to make the machines at the same time, so I better start making all the components now. Pistons, robot arms and conveyors were not a problem, but of course I need a pump. 1 ring extruder shape, and now I can make rubber rings. It is much easier to cut them from a plate, but I crave efficiency. First batch of them was done, and I crafted the first pump. And now, the machines. I placed them on the worm and started making distilled water in my new distillery. I've placed the latex collector, and after using the proper log, it started collecting resin. I can now start making the heat exchanger. Freshly made steel was immediately put into lathe to make frames, distilled resin into glue, made 2 pumps for the controller block and made the maintenance hatch. Frames got assembled and I crafted the controller and made a stack of machine casings. Only things left are the hatches and I will use a mix of LV and ULV. The heat exchanger is done, but some maintenance is required. A quick trip to a lapis vein and it's fully operational. Steam production will not be a problem now. Now it's time to make an EBF. Easier steel, iron and a lot of new materials will become available. But that comes at a steep cost. I will need a lot of machine hulls and a power source specifically for the furnace. I won't make 4 steam turbines for it, but only 2. I will have batteries to supply it with 4 amps. My motor stock is running low, so it's time to make another batch. I made a polarizer for it to be faster. Use the lathe and the polarizer at the same time, but don't be like me and make 1 magnetic iron rod for 2 normal ones. I will need 2 stacks of cupronickel for coils, so it's better to start making it now. I made all the required hatches for the EBF and only the controller and coils were left to do. But now I've noticed that the EBF will eat most of my circuit stock. I don't want to make it the old way by hand, so the main priority for now is a circuit assembler. I made an autoclave for quartzite crystals for the scanner. I made a centrifuge and spin some lava into mineral wool and sawdust into quartzite dust. I've put quartzite dust into an autoclave to crystallize and at this moment I waited for the iron ingots to magnetize and be made into rods. I still didn't see that I made too much magnetic iron. I will need some more silver for the MV circuits for the assembler, so I processed the rest of the acanthite. I made sure for the quest to be detected. On the side note, cupronickel was done and I processed it into wires. And now I realize I made a mistake with magnetic iron rods, so I chucked them into furnace to demagnetize. Luckily you can do that, so I haven't lost that much. With new motors, I made a fluid extractor and liquefied some totally real tin alloy and started crafting the first coil blocks. In the meantime, I used the quartzite crystal to make a scanner. When they were done, I made circuit boards and combined them with a silver wire to get 2 better PCBs. Now only thing left for circuit assembler are the diodes. I had some galena lying around, so I quickly macerated it, melted some glass and pulled some copper wire. 8 diode crafts later, I could make my first MV circuits of the playthrough. The only use for them now is a circuit assembler, but it's so good to have it early. I'll soon put it to good use, so I'll better start making the soldering alloy now. It's also a good time to start making wires for all the circuit components. With the normal assembler they are much cheaper, so 2 stacks of circuits is not scary. I ran out of sand, so I went to mine some, but I accidentally fell into a quicksand pit. Yeah, it took a lot of time to escape it, but at least I got some sand. The rest of the circuit crafting was uneventful. I crafted glass tubes, vacuum tube components, steel rings, and only wondered why it doesn't work. Of course, they're supposed to be copper. I made the correct ones this time, and left the steel rings for future use. I guess it's a good time to make electric tools. A drill, a wrench, and wire cutters, and due to lack of turbocharger, I will be charging them in my bending machine. Some circuits were done, and I resumed my work on the EBF. I've made the 3 electric furnaces for the controller, and was ready to build the first electric multiblock. I placed a battery buffer and 2 steam turbines behind it. They will be its source of power until I make a... And now, to solve the power problem. I will also be making superconductors because they fit so well with large turbines. And for them, I need a lot of steel. A heat exchanger, turbine itself, a radiator, and an electrolytic cell. But let's start from the simpler things. For steel production and superconductor cooling, I need oxygen. I could use normal LV electrolyzer, but electrolytic cell is 15 times faster. So why should I not make it? Now I know I will need graphite electrodes for it, so pyrolyze oven is first. I already started making preparation for the coils. And as for hatches, I want to use the biggest possible because I know it can produce a lot of fluids. Some crafting later, I had everything needed for the oven, so I built it beside the EBF. The same battery buffer will supply them both with power, so I can use them at the same time. It isn't even a problem when pyrolyzed oven works so fast. I turned the coke into 40 raw electrodes and started collecting blocks for electrolytic cell. Now you can see me here making a gas collector just for the sintering oven quest, and you will think I will be making it soon. Yes, but not because I planned it, but because I forgot I need to sinter graphite electrodes first. But at least I remembered I will need sodium hydroxide to produce oxygen. So I made a sifting machine and sifted some evaporite for salt. The last of the blocks needed for the cell were done, so I built it near the ABF. It will be supplied by the same battery buffer. And now, while looking through quest book, I finally realized I need a sintering oven. Structural casings are really cheap, but for bricks, I'll need to disassemble my PBFs. From now on, I'm forced to use EBF for steel and iron production. That's why I made an LV electrolyzer to make oxygen until the cell is working. Some more pump making, and the controller is done. Soon after, the frame boxes were done too, and I finally built the oven. I don't want to make a separate turbine for it, so I just stole the battery buffer from machine worm and put it next to the oven. I put some electrodes to sinter and started working on the farm. A soybean farm for the lubricant and 2 fields for wheat. I'll make sprinklers for them in the future, but for now I don't need them. I got the electrodes and put them into electrolytic cell, some water and salt water, and now I am a proud owner of a bucket of sodium hydroxide. I'll use it as a catalyst for water electrolysis since I will need a lot of oxygen soon. I don't need any other products of chloralkali process, so I replaced the hatches and started making oxygen. Now, some manganese. I quickly mined some pyrolusite and processed it into manganese. Phosphorus has a more involved process. I centrifuged some flint dust into silicon dioxide and centrifuged coke into carbon. I EBF'd chlorapatite with them, and I mixed the resulting phosphorus with manganese and recycled calcium metasilicate for silicon dioxide. I did that 4 times, and now I have 48 manganese phosphide dusts. When EBF batteries are full, I'll smelt it in batches, but now I'll make machines to liquefy oxygen. A radiator and a heat exchanger later, I'm ready to make superconductors. I have a lot of carbon dioxide from making manganese, so I have the cooling liquid. I will make over 750 wires from all my dust, so I will need adequate amount of oxygen, about 50 buckets, so why not process 64 for the number to be Minecraft even. A lot of spinning around in a circle, juggling around cells of pressurized fluids, and a brass drum for liquid oxygen were all I need to do. Of course, I haven't waited for all of it to produce. I put some of it into a chemical bath for the first wires to cool down. It's time to start working on the turbine. There's no reason to make any other dynamo hatch other than 16 amp one. So that's what I am doing. Thanks to the farm I've made, I had enough soybeans for the lubricant for transformer. Just use circuit 2 in fluid extractor to get 50 millibuckets of soybean oil. Then process it to lubricant. Empty the heat exchanger because I ran out of steam and continue the work. Power transformer was done, and I combined it with a 4-amp dynamo hatch. The most important part of the turbine is done, so only the controller and casings are left. I don't count hatches because they are so easy to make, it's not even a challenge now, even with bad steel production. What is a problem now is I don't have any concrete. I need at least 16 blocks to craft a stack of turbine casings, and the easiest way would be to find a structure and kindly steal the concrete from it. So I mined some clay and macerated stone, and once again used my sintering oven to make clinker. I totally did not forget to move the battery buffer. I needed to make an LV mixer because you can't put air in steam one if you don't want moist air. I cooled the clinker, macerated it, mixed it with water and solidified it into blocks. I will take care of the cement later, I have a lot of time to do nothing. Back to the point, I made a concrete and then cased it in steel plates to make turbine casings. And some more micro crafting later, I had internal turbines made. I made a special place for the turbine, a basement, but it does look lonely in there alone. It needs a friend. Little known fact about turbines is that they are racist toward large bronze boilers and will only accept a heat exchanger. So I made it a friend, placed it beside it, and connected it to my water line. My lava drum is looking kinda empty, so I went to fill it back up and fill the new HX. With 2X supercons, I connected it to the worm, and through an 8-amp diode, I connected it to my multi-blocks. From now on, the only power problem in the near future would be too much chilled lava. Unstable power means EBF can run all the time, so I will smelt the rest of manganese phosphide for the future. Hello, and this is how I would automate steel. I would usually automate it after getting supercons, because it is power hungry and the losses would be too much. It all starts here, in this EBF, where coal and iron are smelted. The ashes go into a waste incinerator and the pig iron is divided into 2 EBFs and a forge hammer. Forge hammer is for wrought iron and the first EBF is for iron. They are stored in a 2x2 drawer because I don't need a lot of them. And steel is made in the second EBF and is stored in a separate drawer because you need a lot of steel. The oxygen for iron and steel production is made in a separate electrolytic cell specifically for the steel setup. And that is all for this chapter. The power problems left as quickly as they came, and now I can focus on progression. In the next episode, I will breathe a lot of asbestos, make aluminium and polyethylene. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next episode of SuSy No Automation Challenge.